What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Backyard Blitz. I almost forgot the name because it's been so goddamn long since we've done one of these. The NFL season has started with or without us, most likely because we've been slacking ass here. We're going to talk a little bit of football tonight, the Browns, the Patriots, roughing the passer. That's been a big topic, and, we'll get into some other shit. So first, I'd like to reintroduce you to the boys. I'm Andy. With me, I have Raul. What's up, man?
What's going on?
He likes Texas. And then we got Gary. What's going on?
What's up, man? It's been too long, for sure.
It has. So, we wanted to jump into the Browns. Congratulations to them for winning their first game in like 635 days or something crazy like that. Baker Mayfield, we are not worthy.
I think Napoleon was still ruling France the last time they won.
Yeah, I don't think you're wrong about that. So the question we have is, whether or not we think they're going to win another game. It usually sounds like a suspect question to ask about any sports team, but being that it is the Browns, we're, justified in our asking. So we'll kick it to you first, Raul. Will the Cleveland Browns win another game this season?
So I said in the beginning of the season that I thought that with the new additions, the changes they made, and of course up until this recent change with Josh Gordon back in the lineup, I thought that they were going to be able to turn around and take down maybe 4 wins this year. I had that at 4. I figured that was a good start. They still have a lot of rebuilding to do. But after this first win, and with Josh Gordon winning too, I think that I'm going to go as far as to say yes, but it's not going to be 4 wins. I'm going to say it's going to be 2 or 3. But at the same time, on the other token, you've got Baker Mayfield, who looked good. He put up decent numbers. He looked okay, looked comfortable in the pocket for only playing half a game. And then I think that new momentum, it's going to take some defenses some time to figure him out. So I think he'll get that freshman shine, maybe give him a few more W's up on the board.
All right, Gary, the same question to you, man.
Yeah, I'm actually the opposite. Thinking with Raul, I had him 7-9 to start the season. Honestly, I thought with the defense, if Denzel Ward was any good, I thought they were going to win at least 7 games. That defense is legit. Myles Garrett is as advertised. He's unblockable. I think they've got like a top 3 to 5 defense, and I think that defense can carry them with the way Baker slung it. That offense is just they've got a new life. Check down Timmy. Tyrod Taylor can't stretch the ball down the field. They don't have the running game they had in Buffalo, so that he's not suited for that offense. And even with the departure of Josh Gordon, I think Baker Mayfield's willingness to just sling the rock is going to make a huge difference for that offense. Yeah, he's going to have some growing pains. He's going to have a game or two where he's going to throw 3 interceptions, whatever. But I just think with how well that defense is playing, and I have to admit, I was wrong about Denzel Ward. I thought he was trash. I didn't think he was worthy of a top 5 pick, especially, but he's played a lot better than I thought he was going to. And that secondary is legit, but the pressure they put on the quarterback up front, for me, is the difference. And I think they still get close to 7 wins. I see their schedule gets a little tougher as they go, but I'm going to stick with my initial prediction. I think they're going to get hot. I think the energy that Baker brings is going to make a difference. And the other teams in the AFC North, I don't trust. I think they could easily beat the Steelers the second time around. They should have beat them last time. And the Bengals and Ravens don't scare me if I'm a Browns fan. So I think they could get close to 7 wins. Schedule gets tougher, but I'm going to stick with my original prediction. I think they're going to end up probably 6-8 and 6-9-1 or 7-8-1. So I'm going to keep around that 7-win mark.
Let me start by saying that I played the Cleveland Browns defense in a fantasy football league for the first time that I can ever recall doing so in my fantasy playing life. And I think they got me like 13 points or something. Varies depending on your scoring situation. But, that to me is like Charlie Sheen used to say before he had HIV and shit, winning. I do like the defense. Baker, I think the one thing with Baker coming into the NFL is he always had really good control of his offense, and we saw that still. Tyrod Taylor is like the only scrambling quarterback in the world who doesn't scramble away from things. Like scrambling quarterbacks usually scramble out of trouble. Like he was legitimately okay a lot of times, like in a pocket, and he's like, fuck this, and he scrambles his way into a sack, and it's hard to watch. Bills fans, you guys know what I'm talking about. I thought they'd win a couple games rolling into the season. I'm looking at their schedule. Gary, you touched on that a little bit. My mind's not really changed. I think you're going to win this Raiders game coming up here. They got the Rams, the Chargers, the Bucks, the Steelers, Kansas City, Atlanta, Cincinnati, Houston, Carolina, Denver, Cincinnati, Baltimore. Not the hardest schedule. Gary, you talked about the division a little bit, but not the most promising. I think, to keep the train kind of rolling, I think they really kind of need to win this game this week. It'd be great. I mean, the Raiders are trash. The Raiders are laughable. I mean, look what they've done.
Here's a little aside. Khalil Mack has more sacks and forced fumbles than the entire Raiders roster.
Yeah, and the fans, Chicago fans are wearing jerseys that say
that meme was priceless.
That's your ultimate sacrifice. So, yes, I think we all agree that they will win another game this season. We just kind of differ on how many. So let's flip this. Put my thing down, flip it, and reverse it. I don't know if that really – I think that was about sex, wasn't it, that song? But anyways, we'll
yes, definitely about sex.
We'll talk about the New England Patriots. Gary, let's kick it to you first. Are they in trouble?
Man, it's hard to say they're in trouble because they've got Tom Brady, right? And they've got Bill Belichick. But what I saw from them this past weekend, I think so. I do. Unless Josh Gordon can come in and really pick up the offense and set a tone to be another option. Gronk's getting double and triple teamed like a gunner on punt returns. It's insane. And I just don't see who Brady can throw to. You got him throwing to guys like, Dorsett, and who he drops 2 balls on the opening drive, and Brady checked out in the fourth quarter of that game. You just don't see that. And to me, that really does give me a feeling like they are in trouble. I think they'll figure it out, maybe, because they always do. They're a different team in December than they are in September, but I just look how devoid they are of talent on the offensive side of the ball. And then I look at the other side of the ball, and that defense isn't scary either. They've got a lot of young guys. They've got a lot of guys with, no name. They let a shutdown corner go because of I don't even know. We still don't know why the hell he's not in town. Why
we
he didn't
never
play in
will.
the Super Bowl. They should have another Super Bowl ring right now, but I don't know. It's tough to say. I think that they are in trouble, but I'm going to leave the caveat of Edelman comes back after this week, and they just picked up, probably when sober, a top 8, 10 wide receiver in the league. So I think they have a chance to turn it around, but as it stands right now, yeah, I think they're in trouble. The Dolphins are 3-0 too. They're already 2 games out of the division. It's crazy.
Why are the Dolphins 3-0? Raul.
Yeah, good question.
Patriots, man. Are they in trouble?
Yeah, I mean, short answer, yeah. I think that they got shook again by losing another Super Bowl. I think coming into the offseason, they had so many changes. Their offense is weak, like Gary was talking about. I mean, Tom is the answer. Touchdown Tommy is the fucking truth. But at the end of the day, if there's no one for him to give a touchdown to, what do you do? And you've got next to nothing for New England to look at as far as offensive threats, aside from Gronk. I'm not saying the people they do have are bad. They just don't have a lot of good ones.
They are bad. You can say that. They are bad.
Okay, that's fair. I mean, I was trying to pay some respect to Gronk, but yeah, no, it's a good point.
Gronk's great, but he's getting triple teamed.
He's getting triple teamed, then let's face it, it's only a matter of time before he gets injured again. It's going to happen. It's not if, it's when. So, that guy apparently taught Josh Allen how to play football as far as taking risks. So, anyways, I think that, yeah, long story short, they're in trouble. I think that us as NFL spectators have given them the benefit of the doubt season after season, and times of minor, scuffles within the locker room or rumors or the cheating scandals and all that other shit. whatever black helicopter things you want to listen to. And at the end of the day, I think that I'm not going to give them the benefit of the doubt this year. I think that they are legitimately in trouble.
And so Raul goes the route I really, really deeply want to go, especially after watching, my Lions kind of beat the hell out of them last week.
Thoroughly.
I can't do it though. Like I think I almost want to play like the line on this and say yes, they're in trouble, and no, they're not in trouble, because I think yes, they're in trouble in the sense that Tom Brady, Gary, you pointed out, he really doesn't know what to do when shit isn't going his way. I mean, we haven't really seen this Tom. Like, he kind of checks out and he's like, what the hell?
I've never seen him check out of a game like that, and that's what gives me reason for pause.
Yeah, well, because he's not used to it. I mean,
Right.
It's like he's so used to winning that this is like new to him. But Edelman, Gordon, this should help things. If nothing else, it's going to open up Gronk, which is scary. But that defense is like the worst defense I've ever seen. And on top of the fact that they don't have talent, they did lose their defensive coordinator, which probably shakes things up. Whether he's good or not, it depends on how you feel about Matt Patricia's defensive schemes. But losing it, so you're working with a new system, new people, and your defense isn't good. That's a recipe for disaster. I can't help but think they win 10 games, but I don't know if that's enough. It's probably not enough to win the division. I don't think to win the conference. They're not going to be sitting pretty. No home field, things of that nature. So I do think to that extent they are in a little bit of trouble.
Well, two quick asides here. One, Raul gave Tom Brady both Allen Iverson's and Paul Pierce's nickname in his diatribe, the answer and the truth. I like it. Good job. Two, everybody this week has been talking about, they had this look against Kansas City a couple years ago, and then they didn't lose another game. Yeah, but Tom didn't check out of that game. They were still in that game. Kansas City just got hot and figured them out. And maybe I'm thinking too much into this whole thing with Tom, but I've never seen him look defeated, ever. The dude was down 28-3 in the Super Bowl, and I never had a second thought about thinking they're still in this fucking thing. They were not in that game in the fourth quarter against the Lions. They were just simply not in that game. Until we see Edelman back on the field and until we can see what Gordon's going to do, it's hard to say they're not in trouble. But here's a question for both of you. Say they win 10 games. Say they win the division. They get in. Are you picking against them in January?
Absolutely.
Really?
No question. No question. I don't think that unless there's some major change, like you said, if Josh Gordon can make that much of an impact on the offense, then absolutely, you know what, I'll back touchdown Tommy, and I'll go ahead and say that they're going to get that W, get the next Super Bowl ring. But aside from that happening, even if they get in a good mojo with Edelman back and Josh Gordon on point, or at least sufficient, at least sober, that way at least he's on the fucking field and not, suspended, then yeah, maybe. But I would take him over. I don't know. I would like to give them the benefit of the doubt, but I think those things are what's like. I want to see what Josh Gordon does. I want to see Tommy get out of this little bullshit that he's in, because you're right. I mean, this was legitimate, not even fear, but just general discomfort in the game behind center. He did not look natural. He looked fucking scared. Bad.
Come on, Tommy. Come on, Tommy. No, and I'm going the opposite of that. If they win 10 games, they win the division. I'm hooking up to that coach. I'm riding it just because it's what I've seen before, and it's the AFC. I mean, we can't forget that. If the Patriots played in the NFC,
conference this year.
It's always a bad conference. I don't, I mean, the NFC to me, if they played in the NFC and they were having these issues, I might be like, oh shit, because in the NFC,
Rams, Packers.
But an 8-win team can beat you in the NFC, and I don't see that out of the AFC. So that's my concern. But yeah, if they take the division and they're lighting it up, I just got to go with what seems natural. And as much as I dislike it, that seems natural. So let's talk about something else that's not natural, and that is the fact that you are not allowed to tackle the quarterback. I don't know what has to be done here, but we're going to spitball this thing. We're talking about roughing the passer. I'm going to call it the Aaron Rodgers rule because that's kind of what I think it is. I think it has to do with that collarbone that Anthony Barr hit. I don't know how you're supposed to tackle a guy without landing on him. That's absurd to me. We've seen guys, Clay. Sorry, Clay. I don't even like Clay Matthews. I hate his long hair. I hate that he plays for the Packers. I hate his commercials.
That helped my team, and I think it's bullshit.
That dude is out there trying to
it's a form tackle, and he got a penalty.
He's falling and flailing his arms away. Like
trying to show that he's not hurting somebody.
I mean, he's like going to give himself a neck injury, and he's getting flagged. And it's
William Hayes blew his knee out trying to avoid landing on Derek Carr.
Gary, go, man. You seem real pissed. Like your face is as red as your shirt.
Oh, it's bullshit. It really is. I can't believe that they instituted this rule. And I thought in the preseason they were going to throw the flags like they do with everything else, throw a bunch of flags in the preseason, and then in the regular season they were going to say, okay, enough of this bullshit. It hasn't stopped. It's like 38 or 39 fucking penalties in the first 3 weeks. It's absurd. You've got quarterbacks coming out saying it's bullshit. You've got former quarterbacks coming out and saying it's bullshit. We've got to figure this out because William Hayes blew his fucking ACL out trying to avoid landing on Derek Carr. You can't have that. You've got a guy now who loses a season of his career. He's probably never going to be exactly the same because those sorts of injuries do change you. You can't be calling this craziness. You have to be able to tackle people. I know it's the Aaron Rodgers rule, and I know that Aaron Rodgers missing what was it, 8 games last year because of it, and missing the playoffs because of it. Yes, that's a big hit to the NFL, but this has gone too far. Clay Matthews got a flag for a form tackle on Alex Smith. A form tackle. He tackled him the way you teach people how to tackle and got a flag. Then you have in the Steelers game, I believe it was William Golston, but don't quote me on that, actually put his hands down to break his fall and still got a flag. The refs don't know how to call it. The NFL doesn't know how to define it. It's horseshit.
Raul, let's see if you like this rule as much as Gary.
I don't really know how to follow that. Well, guys, I don't think that the NFL, the last time I checked, was a full contact sport. I don't think there was ever a rule or ever a situation where I think it makes sense to apply a two-hand touch rule to a quarterback and tackle for everyone else. That seems fucking absurd. I understand the logic behind the kicker or punter. I understand that completely. Like, okay, leg up in the air, compromising position, lots of potential injuries, yada, yada, yada.
But that's not a tackle.
Right. Again, but you can't tackle that punter like that. You just can't. And that totally makes sense because he's in a very, potentially dangerous position. However, you're looking at a quarterback who is standing still, not maneuvering, not doing handstands, not doing somersaults. He is moving his fucking arm forward to backwards at a rapid motion to try to make a pass. I don't see a situation where we should jeopardize from a safety standpoint. You're going to end up jeopardizing the safety of more people than just the quarterbacks because there are a lot more people on the defense than just one quarterback. You've got everyone trying to take his head off until that ball leaves his hands, and then even sometimes afterwards. But in the meantime, you've got a quarterback who gets injured, which it happens. There is a such thing as roughing the passer. There is an excessive tackle. But for something like what Gary's talking about, for it to be a form tackle, and you throw a flag because of the way physics works, the man was on top of him, you're going to call a flag on that? Come on, man. Like I could understand if he stayed on him for, until the whistle blew. I could understand if he stayed on him past when the whistle blew. But if you're talking about just landing on him and then coming off, come on, man.
If he picked him up and pile drive them, fine. I'm fine with it. You can't be excessive. That was a form tackle. It was a form tackle. And they threw a flag.
What we're talking about here is the difference between things that might be tough to control and things that are impossible to control. So hitting the quarterback in the helmet, even like the really ticky-tacky bullshit ones that we see, we do understand that that's something that a guy can possibly control. And we understand that, coming around – there's a lot of times where I say a 250 to 350-pound lineman or linebacker cannot stop their momentum in time to hit that guy after he's released the ball, and it's unfortunate. But now we're seeing listen, it's not possible to tackle somebody the appropriate way, because that's what we've been preaching. If you're the NFL, we've been preaching form tackling and tackling the right way, head to the side, wrap, and drive. That's how you tackle. They've been preaching it because of all of the helmets and the leading with your head. We've been preaching this, so now guys are doing it, and now they're being penalized because you can't not land on the quarterback. Like, I don't even understand why we think this is possible. And I mean, we're just going to call it what it is. This isn't about player safety. This is about money, because guys like Aaron Rodgers, they're cash cows.
Money.
We understand this. This is not, I mean, we're not stupid. We, the consumers, we understand these things. And I mean, as Forrest Gump once said, that's all I have to say about that. I mean, I'm at a loss. Like, we're telling guys that you can, I mean, part of tackling is wrapping and landing on top of a guy, and now you can't land on top of them.
It's too much, and they're asking the officials to do too much. It really is. Every week
I don't even blame the officials.
About officials, right? And that's what I'm getting at. Like, every week I've got to complain about officials. They miss calls, they call stuff inconsistently, but it happens, right? They're in an impossible situation. They are in an impossible situation because they've put a clause on it that is impossible to govern in a black and white stance. Like, you have to leave it open to the refs to just err on the side of caution. And that's what they're doing because they've been instructed to do it. And they're throwing flags on stuff that's not what the rule is intended to. Anthony Barr, what he did could have been interpreted as excessive. He took 2 steps, tackled Aaron Rodgers, landed on him. He actually let his arms free so that he landed on him with all of his body weight. That's the thing they wanted to govern out.
It wasn't even an illegal hit, though, by the rules.
No, it technically wasn't. No, but that's what they wanted to get out of the game. Sure, but they've gone way too far. And it's impossible to govern, and the refs are in a bad situation. And the refs are looking at these players like, I don't know what to tell you, man. I don't know what to tell you. Well, so William Hayes is laying on the ground hurt, and the ref's looking at him like, I just threw a flag on you, buddy.
Tough shit.
Your knee's falling apart.
Here's the referee to the defensive players.
Yeah, I mean, they can't do anything else. They're in a tough spot. They have to do what they're told to do by the NFL because that's their employer. They're not employed by the NFL.
What it comes down to is this, plain and simple. That rule is way too subjective for referees, especially the type of officiating that we've seen thus far. If you're asking a referee to call that in real time without a slow-mo, you're asking that's way too much discretion on that referee's shoulders. And let's also talk about the double standard that it creates too, because I don't know if you've seen these floating around on YouTube, but there are a compilation of monster hits from receivers and running backs and tight ends and anyone else who can carry a ball down the field.
The NFL has never cared about the defense.
Getting absolutely murdered by the defense. And those guys have, going back to physics, they're running. So that impact is usually a hell of a lot harder.
Well, they've quickly,
someone who's standing still. Come on,
the league is quickly quit caring about wide receivers too, because this was the focus a few years ago, the defenseless wide receivers, and now they've quickly. It's these quarterbacks with the big money they bring in. I mean, just think of a guy like an Aaron Rodgers or a Tom Brady. I mean, a lot of teams in the league, their best players are quarterback. They make the money. And they have the longevity, frankly. I mean, so that's that. Let's speed up real quick because we're kind of getting slim on time here, and I know we wanted to get to this other part where we could either rewind and touch on something real quick from last week, or we can look to the future here, the Magic 8 Ball, and talk about something we're looking forward to seeing this upcoming week. We'll go to you first, Raul.
All right, so I'm going to reflect on the last 3 weeks real quick. A guy that, because of personal biases, I will say that I wasn't a super big fan nor optimistic of his future with the NFL. However, I sit here and will humbly eat my hat at Patrick motherfucking Mahomes. Holy Santa Claus shit. That guy is an absolute liability, and hope maybe it's just freshman luck. Maybe he'll hit that sophomore slump in the NFL. Maybe. But that man is stout. He's got a fucking cannon, and he has an incredible understanding of how to read a defense. I mean, it is for a kid that young, and I don't blame him for leaving Tech when he did. He made the right choice. So that's definitely my little 30-second tip of the hat is Mahomes is an absolute monster.
Gary, where do you stand on the future or the past? Take your pick.
I like that. Mahomes. I was the same as you, Raul. I didn't think he was going to be any good in the NFL. And honestly, I'm going to leave the jury out still a little bit because I saw an interesting stat. He's got 13 or 14 touchdowns on the season. 8 of them have been to receivers that have 3+ yards of separation. The knock on him coming out of college was his accuracy in tight windows. He hasn't had to throw into a lot of tight windows. That offense is great. He's got a lot of weapons with him. I think he fits that offense perfectly.
The Stephen A. Smith.
No. I'm not saying system quarterback. I hate that fucking term. But I will say he's got a lot of weapons, and he's utilizing those weapons, though. That's the difference, right? I mean, he's got the same weapons Alex Smith had last year. Alex Smith started the season out like gangbusters, too. Absolutely. Let's give it a few weeks. Let's see what defenses do to adjust. Also, you got the Andy Reid factor. Dude can't win big games, right? So let's give him his props. I was wrong. I'll admit it. He's looked great, but let's see how things progress as the season goes, because we saw it with a lot of different people. Right? Foles just won the Super Bowl, and he looks like shit this year because defenses know how to stop him. The film is there. They don't do the same things that they've done in the past. So let's give him a chance to go through. However, I will apologize for how I bashed him. Like I was mean about it when he came out of college too. So I owe him an apology, just like Raul. However, in that same vein, I want to talk about all of the young quarterbacks, man. Josh Allen made the Vikings look like shit this past weekend. One of the best defenses in the NFL, a Super Bowl favorite, right? Made them look like shit. And he looked really, really good. He looked like the guy that people thought he might be last year when he was in college. Then you got Baker Mayfield, obviously, leading the comeback. You've got now I'm drawing a blank, but Deshaun Watson, he looked great last year. He was on MVP pace. He's a sophomore this year. He's getting back in the rhythm. I mean, the young quarterbacks are just taking over the league, and I'm curious to see how some of these younger quarterbacks continue to lead their teams as they move. Carson Wentz came back this weekend. He's obviously a young stud who was probably going to win the MVP until he got hurt last year. Jared Goff looks as good this year as he did last year, utilizing all those weapons as well in LA. So I think the youth movement at quarterback is great because we, for so long, have really seen a dearth of talent after the top 3 or 4, right? It's been Breeze, Manning, Brady, then Rodgers, and it's been kind of them and then the also-rans, right? And maybe you can throw Ben in that group too, but it's been them and the also-rans, and now you've got a handful of young guys that could be really carrying that torch as these older guys progress to the tail end of their career.
You also forgot to mention the great Dak Prescott really killing it out there this year.
Fuck
my life.
Left off the list intentionally.
Fuck my life all the way.
I don't know who that is.
You guys better make a phone call to Romo. That's all I got to say.
Keep Romo, man. You guys hated him when he was there. You guys don't get him back. Mine is for the future and the past. Or I'm sorry. Yeah, the future and the past. The past and the future. Le'Veon Bell. Steelers, please trade this guy. Like, I'm over this shit. This is bullshit. I want to watch football because I want to see the best players play. I don't give a shit who's in the wrong here. Trade this dude. I don't even care if it's to the Packers. I don't give a shit. I don't care if it's to the Packers. All I know is I drafted this dude in this one league, and I'm 0-3. Let's go. No, but really, I would just love to see him play. Like, whether or not I drafted the dude, like, let's go, man. I'm so over this shit. I love to see the patience and the poise. I don't care where he goes. Send him to the Packers. I don't give a shit. Like, let's go.
I bet he goes to the Jets.
Great, that's fine. I mean, and I'm laughing at these people who love Isaiah Crowell and shit. Get them out of there. Before we head on out of here, because we've taken up more time than a Spanish soap opera, Raul, you got the salute to service, my friend.
All right, so this week's salute to service, first one since March, I believe. It's been a while. Command Sergeant Major Timothy Bolyard passed away this month on September 3rd during Operation Freedom Sentinel. He's from 42 years old. He passed away at sustaining small arms fire in Logar province, Afghanistan. And so that, unfortunately, is currently still under investigation, but it was during a mission. He was a special forces operator. And so this cheers will go to you. We have the watch. Rest in peace, brother. And also rest in peace real quick to Garoppolo, because unfortunately I drafted him this year.
Talk about not getting out of your own way. Josh Allen needs to watch that film and then, adjust appropriately. So,
that and all the RG3 injuries.
Oh, Jesus, it's out of control. Until next time, which should be next week, set your calendars, get the shit in your phone. I know you guys got the timer going. We'll be back. This is the Backyard Blitz. We're out.